Hey, Gearheads, and welcome to Garage Talk. I'm Corey, and Wagoneer is dead? No, that's not a clickbaity title. I did wake up to fun little interesting Easter egg this morning, and in this video, I'm going to run through all the details we know so far. Stay tuned. All right, Gearheads. No, this is not a clickbaity title. I do want to go into a little bit of some information, some maybe undercover news that Jeep is trying to sneak under the radar. But thanks to Facebook protocols and different things that they have set up within their system, is something that has piqued my interest as I woke up this morning. Yes, I check through all of my news sites, all of my social medias when I wake up in the morning just to see what's going on in the world. And I was greeted by this, a very interesting notification that isn't too dissimilar from many I get normally on a any given morning, and that is saying that a brand I follow has changed the official name of their Facebook page. But what was interesting is what brand changed and what it changed to. Yes, Wagoneer has changed their Facebook page to Jeep, which doesn't sound like a whole lot, but let's dive into it. First thing I want to do is actually show you my screen and show you exactly what the original press release looked like when Jeep Stellantis launched the Wagoneer sub brand. And they were very adamant that Jeep and Wagoneer were two separate things. And in fact, this is the original press release on the Stellantis media site from when the Wagoneer was launched. And this headline right here: Wagoneer returns as a premium extension of the Jeep brand. Not a model of the Jeep brand. They were really building it out to be its own thing. They wanted it to be its own thing. In fact, being a member of Texas Auto Writers, we were told on multiple occasions not to refer to the Wagoneer as the Jeep Wagoneer. It would be just as ludicrous to say a Toyota Lexus as it would be to say a Jeep Wagoneer. It is truly something that they wanted to separate, which is very interesting because Jeep itself is kind of distancing itself from the rest of Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram. If you have noticed from any of their dealerships across the US, they are all getting a massive remodel, including ours here in East Texas. They are pulling Jeep off to the side and giving it its own brand identity and its own distinct look, while Chrysler, Dodge, and Ram are keeping that old look that has been around since the early 2000s, since bankruptcy, really, that arched look, and really kind of keeping that old guard, whereas Jeep is getting these linear lines and this new styling, this very clean look to their dealerships. Jeep is also the darling brand of Stellantis globally. It is the brand that Stellantis leadership decided was going to leave North America and be a global brand to the point that Stellantis has chosen Jeep to be the premier sponsor of the Juventus football club in Italy. So that's kind of a big deal. An American brand and a historically American brand, one that was started in World War II, established in 1981 or 1941, since 1941, is branded, emboldened, embossed on all of their products. And it is something that they wear like a badge of honor, just like that trail rated badge. So that was all very curious to me when we got this, saying that, well, Wagoneer really isn't a Jeep, though you can find Jeep logos on it, not Stellantis logos, not FCA logos, Jeep logos on it, but not on the front, not on the rear. You get the Jeep 7-slot grille, but that's about it. You get a name that used to be a Jeep model, but they're really trying to build it into its own brand. So much so that you got two different flavors that turned into four different flavors, because you have Wagoneer, which is more like a Tahoe, and Grand Wagoneer, which is more like an Escalade, or maybe a Yukon Denali. And then you've got the L versions of each of those. But again, Jeep did not want you calling them a Jeep Wagoneer. They wanted Wagoneer to be its own thing. They really pounded that home with us. So much so that when you go to their other media site that shows all the 2024 updates and you look at the brands Alfa Romeo, Dodge, Jeep, but then you have Wagoneer by Jeep. So still tied to it, can't deny the connection there. Wagoneer wouldn't exist if it weren't for the Jeep Wagoneer of the 80s and the 70s. But still a sub brand of the Jeep brand. But going back to that last press release here, you can see products, brands and products, Jeep, Wagoneer. So there's just some weird kind of intermingling going on between the two brands. It's like your mouth is saying one thing, your product is saying something very similar, but like it was all a little odd to me. So that takes us to the Jeep website. You go to vehicles and you get this little drop down right here, Wagoneer by Jeep. And you've got the two Wagoneer products, Wagoneer and Grand Wagoneer. Then you've got all the Jeep products. And then you've got 4 by E kind of separated out, then limited edition, blah, blah, blah. That has always been the case. That has not changed as of this morning with this little Facebook thing we've got going on. So it is kind of telling that they're merging the Facebook pages or changing the Facebook page. But so far, granted, this takes a little bit longer, and this would probably have to come with a press release if they truly incorporated it into one on their website. I think this is actually going to stay. This Wagoneer by Jeep, this whole aspect will stay the same even after the fact. But what's really fun is if you go to Facebook, do a search for Wagoneer, up, what do you know? It pulls up a page called Jeep. And then as you scroll down, you can see everything that we have posted tagging Wagoneer, now Jeep, even though it doesn't change the phrasing in my posts. You hover over it, it still says Jeep. Come into it here and we'll look at the details. It very much is the old Wagoneer page. You go to the About, and it tells you that this is the official Facebook page of the Wagoneer brand and things like that. Interesting to me, though, you see these likes and followers here. This isn't the Jeep Facebook page. This is the Jeep, now branded former Wagoneer page, because if you do a search for Jeep on Facebook, well, you get a totally different number right here, 6.3 million followers. And that takes us to this post right here. The first post that comes up when you search for Jeep on Facebook. And this is what was really like the leading edge of, okay, something's different. Something is changing over at Stellantis. This is what told me we've got something up. And that is everything that they did to promote the new electric Wagoneer S. So keep in mind, they told us when Wagoneer was launched, it would be just as crazy to call it a Toyota Lexus. Don't call it a Jeep Wagoneer. They didn't put Jeep on the nose or on the tail of the Wagoneers. But then we get this very similar styling. You get the 7-slot grille, very iconic. We get the Wagoneer badge here on the door. Everything is tracking so far, but you go through some of the pages here. Again, Wagoneer on the steering wheel, everything's tracking until you get to this photo right here of the tailgate, hatch, whatever you want to call it. Our first ever glimpse that something was changing at Wagoneer, at Jeep, whatever you want to call it. We have a Jeep badge on a Wagoneer product. So that goes in to tell me something is up. They were going to bring those back together in-house, and they were going to quit all this Wagoneer as its own thing, because now, yes, we are seeing that it is a separate entity within Jeep, but we've got Jeep badges on a Wagoneer. So I know this is all just kind of like, yeah, who cares? But as a business student, as someone who has his hands deep into marketing as I market my own channel and market my own brand. I have to be very protective of the GT Garage Talk brand. We've got our GT Premium reviews, but that truly is a separate entity that we operate differently. And Wagoneer was supposed to be that for Stellantis for Jeep. They were trying to get it to be its own brand, to stand on its own legs. And now it seems the experiment is now over. We now have a Jeep badge on a Wagoneer product, so much so that the brand is just leaning full force into it. They have changed their Facebook page to be the Jeep Facebook page, but now there are two independent Jeep Facebook pages. I'm sure over time, Facebook, Meta, whatever you want to call it, will allow them to merge into one. Because again, you saw the follower numbers and the likes and all of that for the former Wagoneer page. My channel is very close to an entire car brand's Facebook following. So that perhaps is something why Jeep is really wanting to tap into that 6.3 million followers here versus we're going to go back to Wagoneer and do a search for there. We've got 54,000 followers. So, yes, they are very much wanting to kind of merge those together and have that seamless brand marketing. What that means for future vehicles and whether or not we actually see the Jeep brand or the Jeep logo featured more prominently on the current existing Wagoneer and Grand Wagoneer, that's yet to be seen. Whether or not we get a press release out of this or it's all just something that Jeep quietly does under the radar, that is all yet to be seen. I just know that they made a big stink about it when they launched the sub brand in 2022. And now they're just kind of quietly changing things under the radar. You tell me what your thoughts are. Was it always kind of stupid? Were you always calling it a Jeep Wagoneer anyway? We've made several jokes here on the channel. Many of my peers in the automotive world have made jokes. Don't call it a Jeep. Don't call it a Jeep. Even though it looks like a Jeep, sounds like a Jeep, talks like a Jeep. If it looks like a duck, quacks like a duck, well, let's see. It's probably a duck, right? So they got wise to it. They realized, why are we wasting all this money trying to establish something when it already kind of exists? They're already trying to branch Jeep off into its own thing. Sound off down in the comments below what you think of this whole mess. Do you think it's a nothing burger? Do you think I just woke up and got excited about nothing when I saw that Facebook notification that the brands were merging their Facebook pages or renaming their Facebook pages? Sound off in the comments below. If you want to see more stuff like this, kind of where I respond to impromptu news, let me know that down in the comments below. Hit the subscribe button, ring the bell so you are notified every time a new video drops from us. Find us on all social media platforms, including Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok, Threads, YouTube, all the things at GT Garage Talk, or you can go to gtgaragetalk.com. But as for me, here in the GT Garage Talk studios, until next time, gearheads, bye.